Welcome everyone to the Finance of Retirement and Pensions, my online course. I'm very excited to have you all here. Great turnout for the class, and really looking forward to this journey through the Finance of Retirement and Pensions with you. I want to invite you to please start watching the video lectures. The video segments for Lecture 1 are now posted under the lecture section of the website. And I also wanted to point you towards the assignments section of the website, where you can see a couple of things. First of all, there you'll be able to find the lecture exercises, which you have to complete if you want to achieve a certificate of accomplishment for the course. Also there, you're going to find some questions for discussion. These are questions that I use with my students here at Stanford in class, and for those, what I'd like you to do is do them and discuss them in the discussion forums. I invite you to do that. There'll be designated areas of the discussion forums so that you can discuss these questions for class discussion. Those are not mandatory for receiving a certificate of accomplishment, and there won't be answers posted to those either. Those are just for your discussion. So as you know, this is an 8-week course, and I'm going to be checking in with you weekly through these video casts. And also you should watch the NovoEd website here for any announcements that I might have about the class. I'll be posting announcements under the announcements section. I'd also like to invite you to follow me on Twitter at Josh Rauh. That's my Twitter handle, at JOSHRAUH, at Josh Rauh. And I'll sometimes be posting ideas on Twitter and things that might be relevant for the course. Well, it's been a big week in financial markets, particularly in bond markets. Bond markets are important if you're a saver because they basically are very related to the interest rates that you're going to receive on your savings. If you're an investor in bonds, or if you're a borrower, if you've got a mortgage, an adjustable rate mortgage, or if you're thinking about taking out a new mortgage for a property you're thinking about buying, those rates that you either are earning or are paying are all affected by what's going on in bond markets. So this week, of course, been reading a lot about the government shutdown, about the debate over the debt limit. People have thought that the U.S. government bonds are the safest asset out there, but now there's this kind of constant concern in the background that, well, would the U.S. government really default on its debt? And markets seem to think that, of course, the U.S. government will probably get its act together and will not default on its obligations, but it's causing some consternation in Washington. We also have a new chief of the Federal Reserve announced today, Janet Yellen, and the big question that she's going to face is when to stop the Federal Reserve stimulus. The Federal Reserve has been buying bonds to the tune of $85 billion a month, and that's been keeping interest rates in the economy down and stimulating the economy. The big question is how long the Federal Reserve is going to keep doing that. If you're thinking about buying a home or you're thinking about taking out a new loan, you're hoping that they keep doing that long enough for you to get that loan through because you like the fact that interest rates are low. If you're a saver and you've been saving in relatively risk-free or relatively safe assets, you actually may not like the Federal Reserve's policies now because they're keeping interest rates really, really low. So a very big week in financial markets, particularly with regards to bond markets. And in this course, we'll be talking about bond markets starting in week 2, in the second week of the course. This week, we're going to be talking about two things. There are going to be two lectures that you're going to watch for this week. The first one is going to be on saving for retirement, the saving phase. And the second is going to be on various strategies that you can take if you are retired, if you're already retired, or if you're going to retire on a particular day in a particular year. What strategies are you going to follow then to manage your retirement balances and to spend them down? So in terms of saving for retirement, I think you'll see in the video lectures that there's a big element here. A big question is, how much do you have to save as a portion of your income to give yourself any kind of reasonable retirement? And I think one of the things that people usually observe when they look at the spreadsheet models that accompany these lectures that I've done are that you have to save more and probably work longer than you might have otherwise thought. A very common retirement age these days in the U.S. is 62 years old. Well, people are living longer than they ever have before, and interest rates on safe securities are low. So saving more and working longer end up being prescriptions that one might have to follow if you want to have a retirement that is that is going to fund a reasonable standard of living. And of course, you're going to have to make a plan as to what that standard of living is going to be and what percentage of your expenditures during a normal working year do you want to try to replace in retirement. Do you want to really cut back and scale down your spending by half? say, or do you want to actually not cut back at all and try to keep spending as much in retirement as you do when you're working? So I think those are some of the key questions you're going to ask yourself in the Saving for Retirement section of this course. I'm looking forward to reading a lot of discussion in the discussion forums about that. And in general, I think also you'll probably see in the Saving for Retirement section that one of the things that people are having to do is, they're having to, first of all, you got to start now if you haven't started yet. Starting now is something you could always do. And also just basically, plan for the fact that, well, right now interest rates are low and you might live for a long time. So that means that you're going to have a pretty aggressive saving strategy now if you want to have a comfortable retirement. So the second video lecture, which is not yet posted, but which will be later on in the week, is about what to do with those retirement balances when you reach retirement. And most people in the U.S. tend to try to follow spending rules. So, for example, a very common spending rule that people followed for a long time was the idea that you might spend 4% of your retirement balance every year. That was a very common rule. I sent around a link to an article that suggested that the times for that rule are probably over. Why are they over? Well, they're over for the same reasons I was discussing before about why you might need to save more and work longer during your working life. The 4% rule is probably over because, well, people are living for a longer period of time, and interest rates, macroeconomic interest rates, the returns you can get on your savings are just very low. So, if you're following spending rules to try to spend down your retirement balances, it's going to be important to evaluate whether those are going to be robust to your living a long life, possibly, hopefully living a very long life, and also robust to potentially returns in financial markets that aren't quite as good as what they've been in the past. Also in video lecture 2, I'm going to be talking about the market for life annuities. These are products that many of you may know about, many of you may not. They're products sold by insurance companies that basically provide insurance against living a long life. You give the insurance company a lump sum amount of money when you're 60 or 65 or whenever you want to retire, when you want this to begin, and then the insurance company pays you a pension, basically an annuity for your entire life. And they do that as long as you're alive. You can also buy versions of these products where you can buy them so that they'll pay out as long as either you or your spouse is alive. You can also buy them with guarantees. As I talk about in that video lecture, you're going to see that a lot of people look at the prices of those annuities, the prices of these products, the amounts of money they can get from an insurance company for forking over a big lump sum of money today. And they often find that it seems like it's a small amount of money. Well, that's because I think a lot of people are underestimating just how long you're likely to live today, just given advances in medical technology. If you look at the life tables from the Social Security Administration and other places, you'll see that even there, and some people think that these tables even understate the situation, even there, you're likely to live for a pretty long time. And that means that in order to finance a secure retirement, yeah, you got to have a lot of savings, and you might also think about using some of your assets to buy some longevity insurance against living a long life. So that's the material for this week, and really looking forward to hearing your thoughts about the material in the discussion forums, and very much looking forward to getting started with the class. Thanks, everybody.